Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is May 18th when I am recording this, Thursday. I wish it was a Friday. It feels like a Friday, actually. So anyway, if you guys are interested, you always know I got a $7 trial for 30 days. If you guys want to come over, simplertrading.com/Moxie. And the fact that this is on StockCharts.com, we have the Moxie Indicator on StockCharts. So want to make sure that if you guys love their platform, we have the Moxie Indicator on there for you if you like the way things are looking. And then I was also kind of thinking, wanted to show you guys, I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest, having a good time. The weather has been amazing for May. Usually it's not this great. But yeah, my wife does great with the happy hours, looking at a good play over our balcony. So this is us, having a good time. And then this weekend, I'll show you guys some more pictures if you want to come over and follow my Twitter page or Instagram. I got to work on Instagram too, but I'm going to be pulling the boat out this weekend, going to go wake surfing. The weather has been amazing. So really, really looking forward to that. I hope you guys have a good time too. Things are getting warm. It's summertime. People are excited. And you know what? So is the market. So let me show you a couple things. The market is excited too. I tell you, what difference does a few days make? So the market had been looking really just kind of crappy and not looking great, and the internals were not doing good. I mean, look at this. We had new lows starting to make new highs, so you know all that, and we're seeing new highs kind of falling off, and things weren't looking good. They were really not looking good. We had a lot of things showing us that internally that the market was starting to move down, that even though the indexes were moving up, they were maybe masking what was really happening, because really it was only 7 stocks that were starting to move up. And it was a pretty dreary story out there. I mean, we were thinking, okay, is this going to be a problem? Are the internals, the lack of breadth, the lack of participation, is that what was going to bring the market down? And we were thinking, because usually that's what happens. Usually you see the market go up and you see kind of internals go down, and that pulls the market to the downside. And we started to see that. We started to see new lows start to make highs. We started to see new highs start to fall off, and we got the market to come down. But then we started to go sideways. I mean, look at this. We were going sideways for almost 2 weeks, and we were seeing new highs fall off and new lows were persisting. We're like, oh boy, what's going to happen here? We only have the 7 mega cap tech start keeping the market up. Very, very thin breadth out there. So is this going to be a problem? Well, then, today's Thursday when I'm recording this. So yesterday, Wednesday, we had Kevin McCarthy come out there and say basically, we're pretty hopeful about reaching a deal with the debt ceiling situation. And, I'm hopeful we can resolve this on Sunday or come to a deal on Sunday. Well, apparently that's what the market was waiting for, because the market was going absolutely sideways for 2 weeks waiting for this situation. Basically, we all knew that the market, the debt ceiling situation was going to get resolved. We knew that our U.S. was not going to default on this. Like, nobody's going to be willing to do that right now. But it's this whole playing chicken game and playing politics, and you got to ruffle some feathers first. But the market apparently cared. It really cared. And so it didn't fall apart, probably because the market knew, like, look, we're not going to default, but they weren't willing to place their bets. And so it really just went sideways for almost 2 weeks. And then finally that news came out, and of course, then the market moves up. And look at the difference 2 days make. So we have an expansion of new highs, and we have a contraction of new lows. That's great. We're starting to see some progress here. How about if we look at the internals? We have the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day. And number one, what we could really clearly see, we could see price was moving up and the internals were moving down. We definitely got that. But the other thing to kind of look at was they weren't really going lower. After a while, not going lower. So something to pay attention to. And then we finally got the market to move up, and you know what? Look at this. Now we're starting to see a uptick. Now the question is, will this continue? Will this sustain? Is this going to be a bull trap? Are we going to get price to move up and then we get the rug pull? Or that's to be seen. We don't know. We're going to have to look. But according to the internals, they're at least looking okay. They're starting to kind of, move up a little bit. How about on the index? Well, yes, we've been seeing the index move up, and we've seen the internals moving down, moving down. But the other thing is, they're mostly going neutral. They're kind of neutral, maybe ticking up just a little bit. And then, of course, big expansion for the last 2 days for the NDX, and you know what? We're starting to see a little bit of confirmation with that as well. And how about we look at the new highs and new lows? Wow. Yeah. What a difference does a day or two make? We're seeing the new highs expand, and we're seeing new lows contract. Cool. Now, we don't know if this is going to totally fall off. You know, it would be great if we could see these new lows kind of really fall off like this, but, you know, it's something to kind of keep in mind. So this is kind of what we've been seeing out there with the market. Now, with this, what I want to do, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, something to that extent, is I wanted to say, hey, let's take an inventory of where are the indexes. And I know it seems crazy. We've got recession, we've got yield curve inversion, we've got the interest rates about to pause and probably pull back. And remember, the conversation, the narrative is that we are running our interest rates up. And yes, they eventually will reach a spot where they will probably pause, and that might last for a while. And then we are factoring in, you know, the market is basically factoring in that interest rates will actually get backed off at some point. And that might happen. And maybe that, you know, the market would love to have interest rates get backed off a little bit. But the reason that interest rates will be backing off, not for a good reason. Because usually, as has been history, if we look at the charts and align it with interest rates and all that kind of stuff, when the interest rates start to go down, it's for bad reasons because there's a recession or the economy is having a hard time or something going wrong that the government is trying to ease. And so it is shown that historically, interest rates going back down after being raised is a bad thing. And so how do we align this for what we're seeing with the market going on? Well, the only thing I've been able to really kind of talk about and think about is say, well, like maybe we're in this kind of honeymoon phase or this Goldilocks phase to where it's like just right. We've got this little bit of time in between. Because one way I think about it is that the market pretty much already got repriced. There are so many names out there. Look at the ARKK ETFs as just an example. The ARKK ETFs have already been repriced. Pinterest, I mean, you name it. How many different names that we know have already been repriced and have been just absolutely demolished over the last year and a half, 2 years? Can it get any worse? Yeah, sure. But I think if we look at the characteristic of what these names are doing, and this is what I'm about to show you, but I think if we look at the characteristics of the names that have gone down and gone down in a big way, they all seem to have found the equilibrium, they found their base, they found their bottom, they're starting to go level, and it doesn't look like they want to go that much lower. And so if they don't want to go much lower, then maybe they go higher. And if we are about to pause with the interest rate hikes, and I know maybe that's a bad news and recession, all this other kind of stuff, but so maybe we're in this middle phase where the stocks got repriced, the economy's not in a recession, we're about to stop with the interest rate hikes, and maybe there's a period of time where actually the market can go up and can rise higher, which for the most part it has been doing. I mean, we haven't seen lows since October 13th. And so if it can kind of keep moving up, you know, maybe we can keep doing this for a period of time until, you know, the next bugaboo comes along and pulls the market down. But it doesn't look like the market is ready to go down right now. And so we need to look at this to the upside. So let's just take context. And what are we seeing with the SPY? We are over, let me change my color here. We are over the monthly 10. And remember, over the monthly 10 is a good thing. And we are over the monthly 10. So, and I've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, 6 months to a year at least. If price can get over the monthly 10, you know, that's a line in the sand. How about the NASDAQ? Look at the NASDAQ. I mean, what do we got here? We've got price over the monthly 10. You know, maybe it's a little elevated, but it's still over the monthly 10. How about the Dow? And this is something very interesting to look at. Look at this. It got over the monthly 10 and pulled back into the monthly 10. And so far, the monthly 10 has been holding. And so that looks bullish, just like it did this, over the monthly 10 and pulled back into the monthly 10. This looks the same. Same situation. Same situation. So that's the Dow. Look at the semis. If we add SOXX, what do we have? We have price over the monthly 10. Now, the only one that is bucking the trend is the IWM. And there was a period of time where the IWM was over the monthly 10, but then it failed it. But the other thing that I will talk about and I will note is that for one whole year, this thing has gone sideways, which, you know, hey, if it was going to go lower, don't you think it would have gone lower? I mean, we need to kind of look at this and say, hey, maybe this doesn't want to go too much further down. Now, I will admit, we've been looking at this. I was looking at the IWM. It has been underneath a downtrending daily 50. The Moxie indicator on the daily chart has been below zero, and we have been seeing huge divergences between the S&P at its highs and the IWM at its lows. And I was looking at this like, okay, which one's going to win? You know, is the IWM going to win and break to new lows and it's going to pull the S&P down? Or is the S&P actually going to keep just motoring up and it's going to actually bring the IWM with it? Based on the internals and what I was seeing with things just disintegrating inside internally, I was kind of leaning towards the more negative side. You know, everything we're seeing out there, news, negativity, summertime, you know, sell in May, go away. This is a slow period of the year. I figured things were actually going to be working their way to the downside. But it looks like it might have actually flipped. It looks like it might have, maybe we're going to go up. So remember, we're just kind of looking at this. If it can't get lower, then what does it do? Go higher. And really, I was really kind of looking at this and thinking, oh, we're about to break lower. But we need to, you know, strong convictions, loosely held. And this is kind of what we need to think about with the market is, well, things can change. So if we look at this, and let's look at some other things. Now, I know ARK, you know, a lot of people talk about ARK and kind of, you know, situation with ARK and what's going on there. And, you know, I know Kathy Wood has a, you know, great and also poor reputation. But what are we seeing? ARK doesn't really look like it wants to go lower. And in fact, it looks like it's really actually trying to get over the monthly 10. So if this can change trend and start to get over the monthly 10, then we could be seeing some upside. PTLO is another one, you know, Portillo. You know, the fun name. It's a big East Coast restaurant. And let me kind of get this, there you go, a little bit skewed. And what do we see here? Yes, there was a period back here where price could not get past the monthly 10. But notice how this is different than this. And also, if we look at this, what do we have? We have a double bottom. And now we have price staying over the monthly 10. You know, a lot of times people talk about generational wealth and, you know, what those opportunities were. I think 2020 was one of those opportunities. And obviously, I mean, the market went crazy. But what's another opportunity after a bear market? And this is something that we have all been looking for and waiting for. And we didn't know when it was going to happen. And we still can't totally, you know, say for sure this is a new bear market or new bull market. But if we kind of look around and we look at the monthly charts, you know, I am seeing some things out there where, look at this, level, and now over the monthly 10. And this is NRDY. ROIV. You know, what do we have? Here's your level, and we're over the monthly 10. You know, what about PACB? What do we got? Here's your level. Here's your over the monthly 10. Now, these aren't all perfect, and not all of them will work. But, you know, there are quite a few things I'm seeing out there that are showing us that, you know, even though the market's rough, look, there's your level. And here's price trying to stay over the monthly 10. So make sure you find the right something. You know, earnings are always tough. But, you know, in the face of a market that I thought was going to go down based on the internals, and we just went up despite the internals, I think we need to be willing to open our mind, change our minds, and have a different perspective on what's going on out there. And as long as these things can persist, then I think we need to be aware that perhaps whatever the economy is doing, or, you know, maybe some bugaboo later. Right now, a lot of these names say they don't want to go lower, and if that's the case, then maybe we need to go with them to the upside. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks again.